Hey everybody, what's happening? Icy Cat here, and it's time to take a look at the brand new map Favela. This walkthrough will help you keep your bearings as you navigate the tight clustered hallways and the close quarters rooms. Now if you want to know all the best spots on Favela, you're going to want to stick around and check this out next. Favela is the newest addition for map content in Season 3's new lineup, Skull Rain. Corridors and hallways inside will definitely get you twisted and turned around until you get more used to the layout. On the outside, there can be a lot of confusing ways to come at the map. There's so many different directions and multiple tiers and elevations. There's just a ton of destruction too, and knowing the best spots to push in from and also where you can kind of get the drop on enemies and set up ambushes is going to be key to knowing how to get around. Let's begin by taking a look at our attacker spawn positions, and the first one we're going to start with is the exterior rooftops, and we have lots and lots of options. We've got a ladder over here, and let's just come up and check that out. And we have different ways we can go up here. We can overlook this courtyard, and you can see very easily the layout of the map. We actually have like this blue section is the biker apartments, the green section is the football apartments, the red section or pink is the aunt's apartment, and that also comes up here to what's commonly called Red Tower. Then we have Yellow Tower, and this goes all the way down from first floor all the way up to the third floor here. If we come across to the left, we can drop down and get closer to the aunt's apartment side. And if we go down a little bit more, we can get onto these like tin rooftops and then drop down again and then get over to those areas pretty quickly. We can also follow this around to the right side, and if we do that, another little ramp down onto that section, we can take this around and then come up to the other side of the Yellow Tower for the main entrance here. And we also have the Red Tower directly across from us there. Let's just go ahead and double back real quick and explore some of the other areas that we can go through. So I'm just going to come back here and jump off real quick. So again, we're back to where we started. And if we come to the right here, we have a set of stairs that go down. This brings us into the back alley section, and if we come to the left here, we've got so this is the base of the Yellow Tower again, and bottom of it. And if we come through here, this puts us right into the first floor laundry area. You can also follow this around, and this puts us, this wall here can be gone into, and this will come around into the first floor armory. And let's just go ahead and head back. We can also connect through to the courtyard over there. So many different ways you can go if you start in this position. Coming over, so again, there's our ladder for frame of reference. We can come down the stairs on the left and push over to the courtyard straight ahead. Or we can also go up this secondary ladder over here on the side. Additionally, there is also another stairway here that takes us down to the street if we'd rather take that approach. But let's just show you where this ladder goes. So if we come over here, hop up the ladder, and then this just puts us right over here in this section by the aunt's apartment. So over there was kind of where I was standing before. And you can cross all these on the rooftops and drop down if you want to. But these are all the different ways that you can kind of sort of get close in on your approach to the building. And then just dropping down on the side here and kind of coming in underneath the shop will give us access to the stairs that lead up as well. The next attacker spawn position we'll have available to us is the exterior market. This is down in the lower left of the map if you're looking at it from the top-down view. Starting here is going to put us in the corner of the map. Don't really have much behind us, but we can go either to the left or the right. And let's take our right junction first. We can either come in closer to the buildings here, or we can swing around wide of this truck. When we do, we'll find ourselves facing the aunt's apartment from the other side. And just a really interesting thing here. So we have this Bope crash truck. They sort of have this. This is actually a real-life Bope vehicle. They use it for intimidation, and they kind of roll in on a situation with that. And we have a ladder right here on the side. And this is great. You can breach the side of the structure if you want, and then use these little shields to hide behind. You can sit behind these, and they'll absorb bullet impacts, no problem. And then you can kind of, as you need to, like lean out and engage the structure. We can also use this other one on the other side, or however we want to do that, pop up. And that's just kind of a handy thing to use on this approach. Following this around some more, we can get into the main courtyard if we come through here, or we can come up through the shop stairs if we go there. If we came in closer to the building, we could also kind of come up the market alleyway here. This comes right outside of the first floor biker apartment. And let's just go back the way we came so we don't lose our frame of reference. So that's everything that's available to you if you swing around the truck to the right side from where you start. So if you go that way. We come to the left here, we have some more branching options. We can go down this road, or we can come up these stairs. Let's just go ahead and come up here. If we do that, we do have a good line on our first camera over there. We can also get up on top of the roof here for the marketplace rooftops. And this is the red tower right in front of us. Let's just come around here. This puts us right in between the two towers. So we've got the yellow one on this side, red one on this side. Go back down and explore the other way that we could have gone. So again, frame of reference. So starting here, branching off to the left, these were the stairs that we just went up. But if we instead went straight down to the side, this would put us on the side of the biker apartments down here and the second floor football apartments up there. Coming in through this door will put us right into the biker's garage. And if we come around to the other doorway instead, this will put us into the first floor armory room, and we can come in from that side. Of course, you can also follow this around and loop back behind there too. Starting in this position puts us just kind of in the bottom of this area where the schoolyard is set up. We have a set of stairs right in front of us. We can also go off to the right or to the left. Let's start by coming off to the left. If we do that, we can get on these stairs and they kind of go up to the top and link back up with rooftop spawn, or we can go down below and this takes us to the base of the yellow tower here. We can go all the way back around if we wanted to, but really not as much use over here. I mean, if you want to get back up on top, you can take those stairs and link back up, but these stairs will put you right directly in front of the yellow tower. So if you want to assault that, that's a very fast way to get over to that position. If we instead took the path on the right side here, this puts us then into the exterior football pitch zone. This is right outside of the biker apartments and armory and things like that. So if we were to come in here, just like we were showing in the other spawn position, this puts us really quickly to get into these areas. If you needed to get higher, you can rappel up any of these points and, you know, get on top of the roof that way. Let's begin the next section by taking a look at where we'll find all the camera positions. So starting on the exterior roof, we're over by the yellow tower. If we come around into the stairwell, this is the third floor back stairs. We have our camera here. If you look behind these red pipes, it's actually just right up there in the corner. And if you come through the window, you'll also have it immediately on your left right there. Coming up from the stairs from below, you'll have a line on it if you look over here. And really what this is going to do, you'll see the stairs, the landing on top of the stairs, and anybody that comes in through the window or the door on either side. The next camera position will be found over in the red tower. This is going to be the third floor main stairs. As you come down these stairs, it's really easy to miss because it's actually right up here on top of the ceiling. So as you come down these stairs, if you're not paying attention, you can go around quickly and completely miss that. But it is right up there. If you come from the other direction, maybe from the football apartment or from the stairs from below, you'll see it's just up here on the right side. This is going to keep an eye on the stairs themselves, the hallway that connects to the football apartments, and the two small rooms on the side. The next camera position is going to be located in the first floor laundry room. So coming in here, it's actually right on top of the door as you first come through. So coming from this direction, directly up in the corner, this is really just going to keep an eye on this one room, and it'll let you know if anybody's coming down the stairs. The next camera position is going to be one that you'll frequently run into initially as you assault the building. Coming up through the shop here as we go up the top of the stairs is going to be right above on top of that stairwell. Taking a look as we come through from the first floor aunts apartment, it's going to be right through that doorway. Or if we're coming through from the biker section, it's going to be directly above from that angle. And this is going to keep an eye down that same hall we were just talking about. You can see a little bit into the doorway for the apartment here, but not a great view. And we can also keep an eye on anything coming up from the stairs below. Now let's take a look at the exterior cameras. So the first one will be coming off the school alley spawn. If we come through here, where we have the soccer nets in the football pitch, it's actually directly above that. So coming down this pathway with the stairs, right above the soccer nets, and you can see it on the white pole by the green wall over here. This, of course, will allow you to keep an eye on anybody coming up to the side of the biker section or the football area, and you'll see anybody as they come down the main road from the other spawn on the market side. The next exterior camera will be found coming from the exterior market spawn. If we come up these stairs and then just go off to the right, instead of going up that ramp, if we shift off to the right, it's directly on the corner of the building there. Of course, you can also find that as you come from below. Let's just take a look at that same camera position from the other side. If we were starting on the rooftops side instead of the market side, you would come over, and it's actually just right on the corner here, right there. That's it, on the corner. And from here, you can actually just rotate and get a line on the other camera. This would be the exterior back alley camera. This has a really tight area of focus. It's really difficult with all these awnings that you can see down below to make use of any of that from a line of sight for the defender's perspective. But if you have anybody sitting on rappels trying to get into the side of the yellow tower on either of those angles on the corners, you'll see that. Moving between the various floors of the map can always be accomplished using stairs and ladders, but let's not forget our trapdoors. If we take a look over here on the exterior roof, we're right outside the top of the red tower, across from the yellow one here. We've got this trapdoor. This will put us on the exterior roof, and this will allow us to get a good line on anything happening down below us in the aunt's apartment in the second floor kids' room if we drop into there. Starting over at the top of the yellow tower, coming through, we will find our next trapdoor. This is the third floor packaging room. And if we hit that and open up the floor, we're going to be looking right down into the second floor meth lab. If we drop down in here, we can then quickly, get behind some of these counters or things like that. And that will allow us to get into this room pretty quick. Coming across the hall right into the second floor grow room, we will find our next trapdoor. We're going to go ahead and pop this one open, and this will drop us down right into the first floor vault room. We can get behind here. This is bulletproof if we need to, or we can push straight forward into the first floor armory, or on the left of that is the first floor laundry room. The next two trapdoors are both going to be located in the second floor football apartment. The first one is just outside of the kitchen area on the main floor, and we can just go ahead and take a look down here. We have the first floor biker apartment directly below us. I'm just going to walk over to the next one. This is in the second floor football office, so just that's the one we were just at, just right off to the side here. And we open up this one, which will then drop us down into the first floor biker bedroom, and in this case, we're right next to an objective. Let's begin our walkthrough by taking a look at the way the map is laid out just by color here. So if you're inside and you're getting lost and confused, the best way is to remember your frame of reference for color. And we can see a good overview of that standing in this position over by the courtyard. So the red or pink section here, this is all the aunt's apartment, first floor, second floor, the top of the roof. We've got the second floor football apartments. Those are all green. Down where we have the blue, that is the biker apartments, and that's blue on this side, and there's some gray in the interior. And then this yellow section, this yellow tower, for lack of a better term, we have the laundry room, the grow lab, meth lab, and the packaging room up on top. So just remember where you are in relation to whatever your given color is in your surroundings. The colors are the same on the inside as they are on the outside. Let's begin by checking out the map and coming through the bottom of the exterior shop. This is a zone that actually counts as being outside for the defenders. So if they're standing on these steps, it will get counted as a detection. Coming up here, we have our first landing. We can go straight ahead to the biker apartments, or we can do the aunt's apartment. Let's start with that. This wall back here is super important to reinforce for defenders because they always forget about it, and attackers can come through here and right in pretty easily. We have this bookshelf here. You can hide behind this. It is, for some reason, a bulletproof bookshelf, so you can't get rounds through there, and you're protected if you're back behind it. We have the kitchen area in here. You can, wherever you see this pink wallpaper texture, you can punch through to the other side of that wall. And in fact, that's going to be really important here because this is a huge section of wall, and you can push through this absolutely. As an attacker, if you can open up this wall, what you can do then is sit behind the other side of this truck and get behind these shields like we talked about in the attacker spawns portion. Let's go ahead and go upstairs. We have another one of these like little sections here. If it's not reinforced, a defender can come or an attacker can push through here if the defender forgets to put a reinforcement panel on this wall. And this is the other side of the aunt's apartment on the second floor. All of these pink walls can be pushed through and opened up where we have the wallpaper texture. Where we don't have the wallpaper texture, you can't. Where you do, you can. So all of these walls, just not this one, that doesn't have that texture on it. But otherwise, all the rest of these walls, you know, you can open these up all day and just make holes wherever you want to in these. Come on, there you go. Coming up to the top here, we have the... It's kind of an interesting area because what you can do, this is so... We have the roof here, and attackers will frequently come in through here, or they might push in on this trapdoor. But defenders can sometimes come up here, and if they know the objective is over here in the other tower, a defender can come to this side and then, like, wait for you guys as you try to push through that door, and they can hit you from the backside. Or they can do the reverse. If they know the objective is in the aunt's apartment, maybe they can sit in the yellow tower and snipe through that window, or come out here through this door and do some things like that. One thing I wanted to address real quick, so let's come over to the yellow tower. Coming in here, we have the third floor packaging room. And this is an area where we sometimes have an objective, and some people will notice this hole in the ceiling, and this is actually like a ventilation shaft. You can get up here by coming on the side, and there's one of these in on the other tower on that side as well. There's one over there too. But sometimes people will... Come on, let me get through here. Think that maybe they can get like a grenade or something through here. It doesn't work. No matter what you do, you cannot toss a grenade down there. In fact, I'm going to get ready to run here. It just doesn't work. So for anybody that's thinking that that's something they can try, just don't even waste your time on that one. All right, let's go inside here. And one thing to note, too, about this map is it's similar to Yacht in that you cannot punch through any floors. Other than trapdoors, of course. You can open up trapdoors. But other than that, there's no section that you can punch through holes in the floors. So you have to make use of the walls. And many of these open up to the exterior. You know, like this one, you can keep an eye on what's going on down here. Or you can use these windows and shoot across to here on this landing. This is a really interesting spot here. If you're a defender, you can open this up. And the rooftop spawn is right over there, so they can come up that ladder and go up this side, or they can come out this side, and you can kind of catch them as they come sprinting around those edges. But you're going to want to probably have these mostly reinforced if you're defending. This wall here, you cannot breach through. This is just solid. Same with all of these here. Coming down here to the second floor, we have our drug labs. So this side is the meth lab. And wherever you see this like yellow paint that's like weathered wood texture, you can shoot through these walls and push to the outside wherever you want to do that. And these plain wooden walls can also be opened up, no problem. You've got some back here in this corner. You can get some good coverage by kind of getting behind here and shooting out this little channel. And you can, if you have any desire to get up on top of this table, and you can be up here, you know, maybe get prone and sort of behind some things. These don't offer you any protection at all, but if you wanted to get up on top of that table, you could. This wall can be shot through and breached. Same with this wall here. Again, it's that same yellow painted wooden texture. You can just open up those all day long. These go onto the outside of the shell, as does this set of walls over here. This is a ledge if you wanted to come up. If you're attacking, you can rappel right up the side here and then come either through that window or this window into the football apartments, whatever you want. In the grow room here, we do have these plants here that kind of obscure vision. So, you know, you can shoot through here. It's just a little hard to see, but, you know, like you get a good angle like this and you can see through it all right. If you want a better angle to see through, you can go prone over here and then you can kind of like look through the base of those. We also have an interior wall that can be opened up. This goes into the football section, which we'll get to in a little bit. And let's go ahead and go down to the first floor. We're still in the yellow tower now. And any of these wooden walls can be opened up to the exterior. Same with these walls on this side. That's all on the outer shell. And the first floor laundry area here. And we have a lot of these like heavy-duty washers and dryers that we can, you know, use as cover points if we wanted to.
5 seconds remaining.
And if we come into the first floor armory room over here, we have more of these walls. So where we had the yellow walls before that were kind of weathered and painted that you could push through, same with these blue ones. Wherever you see like this faded texture on them, you can open up holes and blast through some of these. Back here in this corner, we have the first floor vault room, and we can put holes in walls for the exterior side there. We have a trapdoor above us. We've got, you know, like walls like this that are interior that we can blow open and then keep a line of sight. Back here in the corner, we have our door to come in for, or we could just shoot through to the outside shell if we wanted to do that. We have this wall here is another interior one that can be breached, and this puts us right into the first floor biker garage. In here, we have more walls that push through to the outside. There's just so many areas where you can punch holes from the inside to the outside, and you have to be aware of that. There's more than any of the defenders can possibly reinforce in most areas. So, you know, if they've got one side boarded up, just look for weaknesses in other areas because there's just not enough ways to cover up all the walls that are in here. Over in this section, we have like this kind of kitchen area, another door that kind of looks to the outside here. And we've got this back wall. You can actually knock holes in this if you wanted to. Come on. Well, there. So that, you know, you could actually get some lines of sight and some angles in here. We'll talk about that more later. Coming in here is the first floor biker bedroom. Once again, we have the same wooden texture, which means we can put a hole in that. And frequently this window is something that people will come through. Got a trapdoor up here as well. Let's take a look now coming down the hall. This connects back to where we were just a little bit ago. So this is the stairwell that we pushed up from the exterior shop and then come around into the aunt's apartment from this side. So, and this was that same wall from before. Let's come back up and now check out the biker apartment. So, I'm sorry, the football apartment. This actually connects these sections. So you have the red section over here. And then over here you have the yellow section, the yellow tower. So this is the grow room that we were in, you know, stuff like that. The green connects these two sections. Underneath us is the biker apartment underneath. So the green kind of bridges between the red and the yellow sections up on the second floor. And we've got this door that will overlook into the courtyard area over here. You can open up a hole here. Sometimes this landing is an area, you know, you can get people here, or you can sometimes get, there it is. Sometimes you can get people on this landing here and see them on that approach. In this area, we have the kitchen section over here, a couple of drone vents. And this is all like heavy stuff that you can hide behind, and you know it'll kind of like absorb some impacts for you. You can also ambush people as they come through this door from the grow room. Additionally, you have some protection from this wall here, so if you needed to hop up and, you know, kind of do some firefights, you know, that way you could. These two back rooms. So we've got the football bedroom. This has a wall that, if you open this up, goes to the other side of the grow room. So if you needed to push in here, sometimes this is one that defenders won't remember to reinforce because it's just a single wall by itself, and you can kind of get into the back of the room that way. You also have a window here which overlooks that tin roof that we were talking about earlier. And then we've got this back wall. We can get some sight lines on some of the areas where the defenders or the attackers will come from. So you can watch them as they come on their approach through this one. Let's come around to the other side here. And we've got this room, the second floor football office with another trapdoor. This wall you cannot breach. However, where you see this green wooden painted texture, you can breach these sections of the walls. And if they start on the market side, you can get them as they come from there. Or if they come from the other side, you can sort of catch them as they come from this side. This door over here overlooks this ledge. Not particularly useful. A lot of attackers will sometimes forget about this side, but they can come through here too. These are little useful spots to kind of hide behind for cover if you need to do that. Then again, we connect back over to the other side with the aunt's apartment. And just as a reminder, we were talking about before, you cannot breach through, I mean, there's no sections of this map where you can put holes in any of the floors. You just can't get through because they're all like this concrete material. It's just concrete. You can't shoot through it. So that's to the rooftop. But you come down here and you sort of have the same thing. Like you can't shoot through any of these surfaces at all, no matter where you go. It's just you can't actually get through it. There's just no way. So you won't be getting any like vertical kills through surfaces. You can't use cluster charges on any of those surfaces. So you're kind of limited in some of those kinds of tactics that you can use. However, horizontally, there's so much that you can breach that it's just kind of a different way of looking at it. Also, as a defender, one important thing to remember, so you can barricade your doorways, but you can also barricade these like wall sections. And right now I'm playing as Sledge, so I can't show you, but I could put up a reinforced panel here, or I could put up a castle barricade here. Just because it's not like looking like a normal doorway, the game will still let you do it. So, you know, I could come here and I could put up a reinforced castle barricade, or I could put up a standard wooden barricade and block off some of those avenues. People oftentimes forget that. They think that because, you know, this is a doorway, I can do this, but this is a hole in the wall, I can't. Well, they make an exception for these and they let you do that, so be aware of it. With all the destructible surfaces in Favela, Sledge is going to be a really useful character, but another one that's going to be very useful is going to be Ash. And if you take her breaching launcher out, like, let's take a look at this. So if we have an objective that's going to be placed in these rooms here, so we've got the 3rd floor packaging room and the 2nd floor meth lab, there's way more walls than they can possibly reinforce between these 2 floors. And so you just look for the weak point, wherever it was that they couldn't get the walls covered up. She can go ahead and open these, and the attackers can just have a field day shooting into these areas and really keep the control in the attacker's favor by doing some of these areas where they can just open it right up. Also, if you time it just right, you can go ahead and go across this and vault straight in. And what we've actually done is leaped over the top of that area. It doesn't really work too much on the reverse, but so let's just show you that again. If you have these narrow gaps and you manage to go ahead and open them up, you could do it if you had a breaching charge and somebody rappelled up there and placed it, but you know, also just with Ash, you can come down and we're just going to look at it, sprint and vault. And we'll close that gap and hop right into the building, which can be a fast way to get in sometimes. So if you're going to do this in another area and you place the breaching charge, let's go ahead and detonate that. What you need to do is you need to have that bottom part that you can't just walk across. You need that vault prompt to carry you over. So now let's go ahead and sprint back across. And again, you know, this would be far more efficient to do with just the Ash charge in the first place, or if somebody's already kind of placed a breaching charge there, doing it by yourself and then running back around isn't very efficient. But you get in a straight line with it, and you're just going to look for that vault prompt. And once you get it, you just sprint right over the top, close the gap, and you're up. This is also something you can try to do with Buck. So get nice and close, open up a vaultable hole that's in the wall here, and you're in. If you do this enough times and you practice with it and you get good at making holes fast, then just sprint across and you're into the room, and now you can go ahead and engage people right away, you know, and just come in very quickly, and they might not be expecting you to come in through that way that fast. We'll begin in the 3rd floor packaging room. This is actually where Bomb B is going to be located. And you've got these exterior walls. You're going to want to reinforce as many of these as you can. Any of these can be shot through, so if you have these open, you're going to be vulnerable. You can, however, make use of these if you want to. This is right on the other side of this red wall is where the rooftop spawn is located. You actually have the ladder that comes up right there, and when they go up the ladder, they have to break to one direction or the other. If they come around to their left, that's going to put them right here if you want to engage them. Or you can line up over here, and then if they break to their right, you'll be in a position to get here. If you wanted to, you could actually open up this whole wall and then just sit here with like a Tachanka and then have a deployable shield in front of you. And then no matter which way they come, you can sort of engage them as they come around either end. The other way that's going to be frequently used to push forward on you is right through this door. they will oftentimes come right through here, or, you know, maybe they'll come through this window. These are going to be the most aggressive pushes that you'll see when players push in this area. And it's really good to go ahead and put like maybe a frost trap or something there. You know, maybe some kind of a cap can trap or something on this door, maybe castle it up, something like that. You can use this window to engage people as they come across the tops of the roof that way. You can't really get too much of an angle here because some of this stuff is really blocked up. But if they come from the other side, you can maybe get them that way. But that's not used as frequently. You do have this camera here in the corner to help you keep an eye on things. But a good way to be able to move between floors is to go ahead and open up this trapdoor so you can drop down and help out on bomb A if the action is down there instead. Some little spots you have in here is you can get prone and then actually tuck yourself underneath this shelving unit. And that might help you, you know, get the drop on somebody as they come around the corner a little bit. They might not, you know, think to look down there instead. Go ahead and use the structure of the bomb casing to your advantage to keep an eye on the door while protecting you and just giving you a little bit better of a line of sight on some of these things. You can also sort of like lean out and make some of those. You can also use these, but you have to wait for them to come around the corner, but just use your angles in here and try to make it so that you can, you know, maximize your protection. So you can either drop down to go to the next section, or let's just come down the stairs here. You can also, if you need to get down these in a hurry, just vault over the railing and respond to any threats that are coming in through this way. This is also a window that you can use to keep an eye on the courtyard and pin down anybody as they make their push. You really can't get much use out of this wall, though, because you have all these here that are sort of blocking your lines of sight. Not to say that you can't ever, but it's just more limited. So make sure that you reinforce these walls, and you know, again, you can kind of see here, it's just really not super useful angles. So especially these walls should get reinforced. In here, you can make good use of cover by kind of getting behind some of this stuff, but you do have a lot of it blocked by the bomb itself. One thing you can do, I mean, you can actually crouch up on top of these and, well, before I destroy all of it, I mean, I'll just show you, you can sort of use these as cover, but you can get up on top of here, and then you can drop down prone and, you know, kind of maybe get somebody that isn't expecting you to be here hiding behind these bottles and things. Another thing that you can do is just sort of use these and kind of like lean out a little bit as they come through and engage them, you know, that way. I'm going to go ahead and recommend putting some kind of like a deployable shield in the doorway so that they at least get their attacks slowed as they try to push in. I would recommend reinforcing this wall right here so that they can't just, you know, sit across and take advantage of that. And, you know, maybe put a castle barricade or something here. Another good thing is like they'll oftentimes sit here and then try to engage you across in that way. So maybe burying a smoke gas grenade somewhere in here might be a useful thing to do. They will also come up from the bottom of the stairs, so be aware of that. Maybe a frost trap on the landing might be useful. The next one we're going to take a look at is the second floor football bedroom and second floor football office. We're going to begin over here in the second floor football bedroom with bomb B. And you can, you know, put some reinforcements here, you know, maybe on this wall. This looks into the grow room here. I just kind of blew this open so you could see it. So you don't want them to come through on there. So this wall would be a good one to go ahead and put a reinforcement panel on. Then over here, you can put one here or not. It doesn't really matter. But if you want, coming over here just to the left to see where this flag makes like the yellow triangle here. If you go on an angle and then blow through there, this is actually where defenders or attackers will come down if they start in that spawn position. So you can get them as they come from there and maybe pick a few of them off if you want. Conversely, if we come into this other side room over on this side, this is the second floor football office. The other bomb is in here. You can open up this wall, and then as they come from the other spawn on the other side, as they round that corner, you could engage them as they sort of make their approach on that side. Again, these are not things that you have to do, but there's more walls than you can reinforce. So some of them are going to be able to be breached by attackers, and since you can't get them all, you might as well make some use of them. These walls here, definitely go ahead and reinforce these, because actually if you come through here and you blow these open, like these aren't as useful to get sight lines on any attackers. If you went up a floor, you know, maybe you could find some lines if, you know, you went into that other building over there and looked across. But for this side, just reinforce these. These are good ones to get. One that you could make a little bit of use of, though, is right here if you open up this one, because sometimes they'll come on this landing, and this puts you a little bit closer to them, and it's a little bit closer to your height elevation, whereas that one's a little bit higher up. So you could maybe make some use of a hole on this side. This wall, you might want to reinforce this one too, just because on the other side of this is where the aunt's apartment is, and maybe they could, you know, kind of push through on there if you have enough. If you don't worry about it too much, though, just be aware of it. We've got 2 trapdoors in here, and I definitely recommend making use of both of these as a way of moving around the map. So go ahead and pre-open at least one, maybe even both of them, so you've got a quick way to drop down and then kind of come around and flank enemies if you need to. This door is going to be a little bit of a problem. Attackers don't seem to use it quite as much, but you can go ahead and castle that up or put a cap can laser on it or something. These windows, you know, they can come through these a little bit, but where you're going to see your heaviest pushes, you're going to get them from the grow room, and they're going to try to push through here. So again, reinforce that wall. You're also, if you don't have anything reinforced here, they can come through here pretty easily. This door will get used a lot, so be aware of this one. And then through the aunt's, you know, bedroom apartment kind of an area too. One thing that's really handy to make use of is you can come over here on this side and look across from the red tower to the yellow, and then if they try to go in there, you can kind of sort of snipe them as they try to make that approach. You can also, you know, set up some defensive points in here. I like to make use of these piles of like shelves and cases and things like that. And you can sort of get behind here, and then if they come through a window, you know, you'll be able to pop up and deal with that if you need to. And if you come into the other room, you sort of have a structure very similar to that over here, so that you can duck down, and then if they come through the window, you can rapidly respond to that if you need. The third bomb position is going to be second floor aunt's bedroom and first floor aunt's apartment. The first thing you're going to want to do is reinforce this whole wall, because if you don't, they're just going to use this heavy vehicle out here. They're going to get behind those deployable shields, blow open holes in these walls, and there's not going to be anything you can do about it. So reinforce those for sure. You do have an advantage of this concrete wall, so if that does blow open, you can at least be on the other side of it and use that for some protection. One thing you can do, you can reinforce this one, but I like to leave this one open and then make a little hole here down on the bottom. So if they come across through here, maybe they come up these stairs, you know, something like that, you'll be able to get the drop on them this way if you want. This wall, I blew a hole in this just so you can see they can come right through here, and then they're inside already. So definitely put a reinforcement panel on this wall to prevent that play. Another thing you're going to typically see a lot of is they'll come up from the bottom here, and this is going to be one of the most common approaches. So something you can do is you can actually put like a smoke grenade here, or you can even kind of like hide a smoke grenade in between the plants or something like that. And then when you see that they're trying to push forward, you can set that off, and then that'll flood this area. And, you know, you can also kind of like pop around here and, you know, engage them in here. This is actually bulletproof, so you can't get shot while you're behind this. So that's a good thing to use to your advantage. Let's take a look at the other bomb position up here. So this is a floor up, and again, we've got the same problem here where they could just come through this wall. So this would be a good one to throw a reinforcement panel on as well. I realize that this wall is going to take up like most of what you've got, but you know, try to use what you can there. Over here, you've got the roof approach. So they will typically try to push in through here. You can try to have some kind of a, you know, cap can laser or a smoke gas grenade or something like that up here to deal with that if you want. And you do have the camera here that you can kind of make use of to help watch your area. But in this room, in the bedroom, is where you're going to find the next one. And you can hold the position here, you know, kind of use the structure of the bomb casing and this to sort of protect you. But in the next room, you've got this trapdoor. And this is where they're going to come through probably the most. You know, I mean, just drop in here and they're in the room. So a few different ways of dealing with this. You can blow some holes in the floor here and then shoot them when they come down. You can make these a little higher, but if you make them too high, you risk getting shot from the trapdoor as they come down, but you can do that. If you do want to deal with the trapdoor, I've actually blown open some holes on this already. That's the trapdoor right there. And if they come through there, you can at least maybe get some shots on them as they try. The fourth and final bomb position is going to be located in the first floor biker apartment and bedroom. This is where you're going to want to do a lot of reinforcement. This wall, go ahead and block that up. Also, send somebody upstairs and do the 2 trapdoors. So we've got one here, and then we've got one here. So that's going to use up 4 of your panels. Now, if we bothered to reinforce this room, we'd run out. We wouldn't have enough to do the other ones. So you might want to consider giving this room up, but, if you want to reinforce these walls, you could. This would be the other set of walls I would recommend reinforcing, just because on the other side here they can come through, and if they come from the courtyard, they can push open this wall pretty easily. So I would block this one up, and then if you have any left over, if you want to put some maybe on this back wall, you could, or you could also maybe try to reinforce some of these other walls over there, or this back one in the vault would also be a good one to reinforce too. And we'll talk about why in a second here. So you could also do this one to prevent them from kind of splitting these rooms apart from you, from putting the diffuser in there. So one of the things that people will often do is they'll sit outside this window and then they'll try to engage into the room, or maybe they'll plant a diffuser here and then they'll hop back out the window and watch the room from that way. One thing you can do if you come through the hallway here, so this is where the aunt's apartment was, you can blow a hole in this wall, and then that's the reverse side of that window. So you can keep an eye on them as they're over here, maybe sit back here and then just kind of keep an eye on things. The other thing you can do is, let's talk about this wooden panel here. So this can be a bit of a problem. There's not much, you can't do anything about it as a defender, and from the other side, it looks like a surface that maybe you wouldn't have to worry about. But check it out. If you do manage to push up this far as an attacker and you want to see into the room, you can do that. You can open this right up. And now you're, getting shots into the room that the defenders may not necessarily have been known, they may not have realized that you've got to look out for this sort of a thing. So just a heads up on that. You could use this as a reverse angle on getting them as they come through this hallway, but it's actually more rewarding for the attackers to use it than it is for the defenders. So as we're looking at this kitchen here, we do have some things that we could use. I mean, you could actually sort of, crouch down in here and try to hold your angles, and then if they come through, pop up on them. That's something you could do, but you do run the risk of being exposed to that if they come through there. Hopefully you've got this entire wall reinforced, so you can, kind of tuck in behind here if you need to, and then if they come through here, you can deal with that, or if they come through here, you can get them there. If they do push into here, be aware that this is a wall that they can come through. This just looks into the armory, but it is a wall that can be breached if you're not aware of it. Back in the armory, this is a door that, people will oftentimes come through. If you've got this back wall reinforced, what you can do is you can actually safely sit in this corner here and hold this reverse angle and keep an eye on that. Be aware that they can come through the laundry room area, so definitely reinforce, maybe a castle barricade or a regular barricade there too. The unique spawn position we'll have for hostage mode will be the second floor grow room. The second floor grow room has a lot of interesting challenges in it. You've got walls on all 4 sides here. So go ahead and reinforce these. I mean, let's just count these up here. So you got 1, 2, 3 that you can put here. 4, 5, 6, because this one connects to that next room behind it. So that's 6 of your walls. I'm going to put another one here, that's 7. Another one here, that's 8. Then put one here. That way they can't open up the exterior and control your lane of fire there. For your last one, put it here. What you don't want is them breaching the floor above and then making an easy ingress point where they can drop down. What you want to do is make it so that they have to come down this funneled area and work through here. One thing I've done is I've pre-opened a hole in this window, and I've made sure that I opened it a little higher. The reason for that is I've got a little murder hole directly across the way here. Let's just run over there and check that out. And what you can do is sit here, and then as they come down the stairs, you'll be able to shoot them in the feet and in the waist. You know, you'll get shots on them before they even can see your position from here. Now, of course, you do run the risk of having somebody come up on you from these stairs here as you're doing this, but usually this yellow tower is the one that's going to get pushed on a lot. The other area that's going to get pushed a lot is this exterior window on this side. So this is something to be aware of. You can put a frost trap on that, or something like that to sort of help yourself out. Some Valkyrie cams out there to keep an eye on it is also a good idea for sure. You can shoot through these plants, so you can use that to your advantage, but while you can shoot through them, it's a little hard to see through them. If you come right here and actually drop prone, you can have a much better field of view for engaging that side of things. Back over here, there's a trapdoor. Now, this one's a tough call whether or not you want to open it or not. It's good to have a way out if you need it. If you get pressure on this room and you need to drop down and flank real quick, it's good to have that option. But this desk is also handy to use for cover. And if you've opened this up, you only limit yourself to, sort of being in like this zone here for that. If you go over too much, you're going to fall down. Also, if you're in this area and you're engaging and an attacker does make it down below, I mean, you're right there for them to shoot. So there's pros and cons to leaving this open, and at the end of the day, it's really a personal preference as to whether you do or not. We'll also get some guys heavily funneling through maybe this area, so again, keeping a roamer, maybe in one of these back areas here, so that when they do, and then keeping an eye on cams, can sort of pull in behind their 6 as they try that. But just, and if you're going to be over here watching this murder hole, go ahead and do that, but then reinforce these doors so that you don't get blitzed from the side as they come through one of these, walls or windows or something like that. And you can also go ahead and, again, just block up some of these holes in the wall too. The different room for secure area is going to be the first floor armory room. The rest of them are just single room versions of what we saw in bomb defusal. So for this one, you're going to be setting up your defense primarily in the first floor armory room. If they get in this room, they'll hold the zone, but one thing we can do here is, just like we were talking about before, we can set up in the vault, make a little kill hole here, and then we can keep an eye on this angle here if we want to do that. I would definitely recommend putting up a couple of reinforced panels over on this wall. You can also lock off this room if you want to by putting up a bunch of reinforcements on these walls. You'll still have to worry about the doors and the stairs, but that's something that you can do to sort of at least keep them from stepping all over this room to a certain degree, especially if you have some castle barricades you can put on those doors or something like that. This is definitely going to be an essential wall to reinforce. The reason being, they can come in right through any of these walls here, this door, these doors here, and if they do that, they can just punch right through, and they're going to be able to get into that room if that's not barricaded up. You do have the trapdoors above to be worried about, and you also have another one over here, but what you're going to see the most aggressive pushes for are going to be the door here, possibly that wall, and then the door over here, as well as the window here, and the downstairs approach from these stairs. Some of the best ways to deal with that are actually going to be not so much in your reinforcements, and I would also recommend reinforcing this wall for sure, and probably this wall that goes right into that room. A good way of dealing with this is make your reinforcements, go ahead and do that, and then set up some roamers. So like this would be a good spot to put one just kind of down in the corner here. If they bust through the window, you can maybe get an early kill on them that way. Otherwise, if they come through from, maybe this back door or this back hallway, if they haven't come through the window, then you can just sort of come up behind them and sort of roam in on their 6 as they try to come through the main doorway there. Also, don't forget that you can barricade these breaches. They don't look like doorways, but you wouldn't think that this is like a door frame, but you can go ahead and barricade these up, and you can use castle barricades or something like that if you want to, but don't forget that you have that option. The other area where a roamer would be very useful is down this hallway here. Just having somebody kind of sitting in this position, they can watch if they come down the stairs from this side, and then if they don't, they can just easily kind of flank in behind anybody as they come through that area. Let's take a look at some of our drone access points now. If we are in the exterior courtyard and we come through this door into the first floor biker apartment, we've got one immediately to the left of this door. So this is like right in the kitchen area, and we can come through here. There's a little bit of debris, but this puts us then into the first floor aunt's apartment. And from the other side, it's really hard to see this, but if you come through and then through here, you've kind of got that. So you can sit in this position and keep an eye on things, and you might be a little harder to spot, or you can travel into the next room here. Rolling into the first floor biker garage, we'll also have one of these directly in front of us, and this will transition right into the biker apartment or straight to the left into the first floor armory room. If we're in the exterior access alley and we come along the side here where we've kind of got these posters hanging on the wall and some of these other things, right underneath the big laughing head and the mouths, we can come in and there's a vent with the little L shape, and that puts us right into the back of the first floor vault room. If you're on the exterior football pitch, you can come through here, and then right next to the base of this blue wall with the football players, we can come through this vent, and this puts us into the first floor biker bedroom. We also have one other one in the biker garage, so this is the one we went through before, but if we come over to here, right underneath this shelving unit behind this red toolbox, we can kind of sort of get behind, shift over, and then we're into the biker bedroom. Coming into the second floor football apartments, if we look right behind this potted plant in the corner, behind this sort of duffel bag, we've got a vent, and this will allow us to get into the second floor aunt's bedroom. Sometimes there is a bomb objective in this room. And if you come at it from the other side, you would just come through and then just shift to the right to get clear of that. So in this next section, we have almost like a little highway of connecting vents. If we start in the grow room on the second floor, we can come through this wall, and this will put us into the second floor football apartment. But immediately to the right, so this is the one we just came through here, immediately to the right, there's also another one, and this will put us into the second floor football bedroom. So when you come through, you can go that way, or you can come through onto this side. Then if you want, back here in this corner, there's another vent that connects through to the second floor football office. So we've got one vent here, one vent in the corner here, and then this one puts us back where we started. So 1, 2, 3 vents in a rapid sequence if you needed to get through that way. Next up, let's take a look at a few of the spots that you can make use of your drones. And one spot I want to talk about is one on the exterior shell here. We've got these little shields that we can hide behind, and you can open these up and then use these as points to engage. But it's also a handy point to leave a drone, because once you have that in there, you've got a window into the interior space that even if you don't sit here and continue to fire in from these spots, you know, if you displace and go someplace else, you can still leave a camera here and see straight into the inside of the building pretty well. There's other spots where you can do this too, but this is just such a handy one because of the shields that are here. So as we come up, we've got a few of these like potted plants, and wherever you see these plants, you can get some really great spots. You can just jump your drone in there and then just kind of, find a spot where you're still sort of covered. This way, your drone is at least somewhat protected, but now I can see down that hallway, and if they're looking for the drone, I might be a lot harder to spot. And, I can also, come out a little bit more if I want to do something, if maybe I want to keep an eye on that other angle instead or something. Let's just go ahead and come straight into here. We've got this cupboard pantry thing, and we can get up on top of here. Let's come up here, one more. There we go, up on top. And now we can sit up here and just sort of scan this entire environment and be on top. Pretty hard to spot up here. Coming into the kitchen, you can, of course, get up on the refrigerator here if you want to, but be careful. It is easy to overjump it and then wind up in the corner. You can actually fall down this gap here, so don't be too close when you make your jump. But this will then allow you to kind of be over here. You can keep an eye on anybody that might be trying to come through this area, maybe behind that bookshelf, or you can come over on this side a little bit more and watch that section if you wanted to. Up on the top landing here in the second floor aunt's hall, this is a high traffic area, so there's a lot of people that come through here, and you can get under here and sort of just be in this section. The reason I jumped is because actually if I go below it, kind of like it clips off the top half, and I could do that. I mean, this is an easier spot to get into, But if I'm just on the second ledge instead, then, I have at least a little bit more height to see with. However, you're more easy to spot that way too. Once again, we've got another one of these potted plants, so you can get in here and just position yourself in such a way that you're hard to see. You've got some cover, but you can still provide intel for your team while remaining fairly well hidden. Some of these rooms have these wall-mounted fan units, and we can make use of that. If we go ahead and jump up on top of here, and then make one more jump on top of this wooden barricade. Let's just back up a little bit so we're not too close. And then one more will now see us up on top of this unit. And now I can look over into the next room, and I've got a good line of sight on anything happening in here, and I'm pretty safe. I can also make a jump over to the top of the ceiling fan. If I come over to the other side here, I can see kind of like a little bit more of this other angle instead. Also in this room, just like the other one, if I wanted to get up on top of this unit, I can do this and come up here and then keep an eye on the reverse angle and see a little bit into that next room too. In this room, if I wanted to get up on top of that fan, I could do sort of the same thing I did before, just jump up here and then another one up on top, and then I'm up in this position and I can kind of look around and keep an eye on things. I can also get over to the ceiling fan by a jump like that. And from here, if I wanted to jump on top of that speaker, I could, or what have you. So these aren't exactly hidden positions, but it's a good idea to leave some drones that overlook some of these top floor rooftop access points. This one overlooks the yellow tower for the third floor packaging room. And that's important because if you're on the other side where they have the aunt's apartment, and you're busy taking your focus over there, a defender can come up on this side and flank you. But if you leave a drone back there, you might be able to spot them before they do. Likewise, you can do the other. If your objective is over on the yellow tower, say in the third floor packaging room, they will oftentimes come through here, either on this window or on this door. But if you just kind of like leave a drone here, you can keep an eye on that. And if anybody's going to come up there, they can, you'll at least spot them and be able to alert your team. It's not necessarily a hidden spot for your drone, but it's still a useful one. We also have some really neat drone spots in the second floor grow room. So, you can do some things like just going under the desk like you would normally think you could. But we've got a few other options available to us. Of course, we have all of these plants over in the area here that we can sort of get our drone into spots like this, which keep them at least partially concealed. But if they were to drop down low, they'd still see it easily. You can get back into an area like this and keep an eye on some things from the low corner. But if we wanted to be creative, we can get up on some of these ledges and do some interesting things. So once you get up here, you can get up on top of any of these like lights. And you can also get up on top of these tarps. And I thought initially I would just fall through these. I was really surprised to find that these could hold my drones up here. And if we come through to some of these spots, they can be kind of useful. You can sit over here and keep an eye on this section. But we can also cross over to the other side if we just time our jumps well and get up onto some of these, and we can position it on this tubing anywhere we want. So if we wanted to look over here, we could, but we can also just go ahead and place ourselves in this side, and we can use this to keep an eye on the reverse angle here. So now if anybody's hiding behind the plants, this is just a great spot to keep an eye on that. You can come over here to this side and kind of get it from this angle too, or, from over here. You can ride this up a little bit. Wherever you see these blue tarps, you can actually get onto them. If we wanted to even get into this other one, just come over here. Almost overjumped it, but, we got in here and we could keep an eye on certain angles depending on whatever we think would be useful to do. In the meth lab, you can also jump on top of some of these things and get up high and then keep an eye on pretty much the entire room from up here. Very useful position. Over in the first floor biker bedroom, you can jump up onto this middle section and then get nice and close to the edge there and just look for this little hole back in the corner. And you can get a drone right in there. Keep an eye on some things. You can be spotted from here though, but it's a good vantage point. You can also get up into the corner here on this fan unit. And if you manage to do that, especially if there's an objective in this room, if they have a bomb in here, you can actually use a bomb to get up here too. But it's just a really good spot that people won't think to look for you from if you're up here. And then you can kind of see if they come in to try to stop the diffuser or anything else that's going on. Another place that's useful in the bedroom is if you come over this bottom of this like wardrobe unit, you get this little area that you can kind of tuck in behind. This makes you a little hard to see just because you, are so covered from various things. And then if you want, you can come like right here and then keep an eye on anybody that might be in the corner or anybody that might be coming into the room to deal with something. In the first floor biker apartment, if we come over to the kitchen section, there's this counter area. And, you can jump up on top of here and get into some things, but we've got this door that's already been sort of pre-damaged, and we can actually jump up inside of here and then keep an eye on things that are happening in the room. Nobody's going to see you in here. This is a really sneaky spot. You can also just jump up on top of here. Another, again, kind of narrow profile, a little bit of a sneaky spot, but limited angle because, you can only really see what's right here. But from here, if we wanted to, we can get on top of this ceiling fan. And now this provides a lot more useful of an angle to keep an eye on things. We can also come into the armory and get on top of some things. We get up on these cases here and then try not to overshoot. And then you can get up on top of this bookshelf unit here. Keep an eye on anything over here. Or if you want, you can jump across. Maybe, keep an eye this way. But we can also try to get up on top of like this TV, which is a little bit better of a vantage point in general, and keep an eye on anything that might be going on down below. We can also get up on top of some of these shelves if we want. They're too high to jump on directly, but if you come over here and then you can make one more jump across here and then just kind of get back on this side. Now you can watch anything from this angle and come over here. You can, of course, get on top of any of these shelves if you wanted to, but if you want to get on the absolute top, this is a way to do that. Just come over here and one more, just put us up on top. We'll keep jumping over it. There we go. And now we can watch an angle like this, which is a really useful one to do. From this laundry unit, you can jump up here and then up on top of one of these ceiling fans if you wanted to. You can use it to kind of keep an eye on anybody that might be coming down the stairs, but you're also going to be pretty visible to them if you do so. If you're on this side, you can at least watch, anybody coming through this door. On the third floor packaging room, we've got this shelving unit in the corner here. We can jump up on here if we want, and you can get some angles on this room, and that can be useful. But if you want to take it just a little bit further, we can actually get up on top of this speaker unit right there. And now that's a super useful spot to be. You can see the whole room, and people might not be thinking to look up here. You can also hop over into this other side alcove if you prefer to have an angle like that. It's just a little different, but get a different spot. Well, that finishes up the map walkthrough for Favelas. Using this guide, remember where all the objective zones are located, and then try to plot out the best ways to get there depending on where you start. You'll have the edge over other players that waste time trying to figure out which one of these meandering hallways or alleyways to go down to get to an objective zone. If you know the fastest route to connect where you spawn to where an objective is, then you'll have the leg up and be able to get there quick. Now, in the meantime, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to make sure you stay up to date on all the latest news, tips, tricks, reviews, walkthroughs, and more for Rainbow Six Siege. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.